Hello, I'm Jenny. Welcome to my channel where we focus on using ordinary materials to make beautiful things. Today I want to show you a journal that I made as a weekend project. So I just kind of want to flip through it and show it to you. I realized after I did it that I probably should have filmed doing it. But it was kind of one of those things that I worked on it, in little snippets. So it didn't get done all at once. Certainly. But it was a lot of fun, and I like themes to my journals. I sometimes I do things that don't really have a theme, where I kind of just play with it as I go. But one of my kitty cats has decided to join us. Hello, kid. Here, let me see if I can get her out of the way. Oops. There we go. So I started with some really pretty little glass beads. These are hand-painted glass beads that I picked up at a craft show, heaven knows how long ago. I tend to accumulate things, especially from arts and craft shows. So I added the word hope because there is a place in here where I put a quote that includes the word hope. So I added that as well. Then I've got some little faux pearls and faux silver beads, and I just thought this was kind of fun. It looked fancy with the pearls. Reminded me of a lady's mirror maybe, and having tea and little faux crystal drop things. And then again, this one is also a hand-painted glass bead, and so is this one. And then there are some just little doodad beads too. So this one's a little bit different. I did the journal so that it opens kind of sideways as opposed to having it, vertical. Everything is in so that it goes this way. But it seems fine. I've already tested out whether or not you could write on it, things like that. I did sew all the way around the binding, and I'll show you inside. You can see it goes all the way around to the front and the back. These are scrapbook papers that I did some painting on to give them a little more character. And then I sewed all the way around because I wanted to sew in these pieces of crocheted doily. This is probably from the 1950s or so, the doily is, and it's hand crocheted. And so that is along the front and the back edge. Not sure if you can see it yet. Let me flip it up here. We'll just take a quick look at the back too. So it's along the back edge as well. And I have included a writing board to help you so that the writing board is something a little more sturdy that you can put under a piece of a page to give you a flatter surface to help avoid having lumps and stuff from decorations. So we'll get to all that in just a minute. So as we go, some of the things in here are vintage, like the lace, and some of them are just reproduction, which are still fun. So I had this really pretty tea-themed paper that I got. I want to say it was from a paper shop in Scottsdale, but I'm not really sure. So I cut a lot of the things from that, and then I just added some fun embellishments. Okay, so enough about that. It ties shut, again, with some little crocheted lace there. So in my journals, I like to be sure that there's plenty of room to actually write. There are people who decorate journals and then you just kind of tuck in. If you want to write something, you have to tuck it in. But I like things where you can actually write on the journal. And these, of course, totally move out of the way so that you can lay that flat. So all of these are hand-dyed paper. That's old notebook paper that I have dyed to make. Some of it's coffee dyed, some of it is used watercolors, things like that, to dye it. So there's just kind of a variety of paper, but I like the line paper. I think it's kind of fun. It reminds me of, you know, being in school, and maybe I'm a little nostalgic because I've been out of school for a very long time. But it's fun. You don't obviously have to write on the lines. You can write between them or over them or on two of them. So there is paper to write on throughout. And there are several flip spots. So you can see there's a little flip out here of with an envelope, and it has a journaling card in the back. Oops, there we go. There's some vintage music paper. And again, I kind of splattered everything with the same colors of paint. So all of the pages that were in here, whatever papers I used, if they were scrapbook papers or vintage music papers or there are some other papers in here that you'll see as we go. There's a little bit of wallpaper, that kind of stuff. Everything is splattered with the same several colors of paint so that it all kind of marries together. So I always think that's a good idea too, to have something that marries everything. So there's some journaling space. I thought this was cute because it reminded me when we have tea, I really like to have a little dessert with a little cake. I'm all about dessert and tea. And so then this flips. So I thought this was kind of cool to do. I'd seen several journals online, watching some other makers, and many of them have uneven kind of pages as they go, which makes it a little more interesting. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. So we've got the full page here with the cover. You've got a flip out that covers part of this page. Then when you open it, there's a little bit of this page, and then you can see this page, and then below you see other pages. So it's kind of interesting to see multiple pages at once. So this one is kind of just blank. So if you wanted to put in a photograph, your own clipping, something, that would be a good place to put that. These are hand-dyed paper doilies that I did with watercolors. So they're in several different colors, and I've decorated them with tea paraphernalia, right? So another place to journal. This one flips up, so you've got a little bit of space there that's kind of hidden. There's some book pages in here that are painted. This one has a little tuck spot here. I included this. I live in Queen Creek, Arizona, and there's this really cool little place called the Olive Mill, where they make olive oil and all kinds of, they have a little deli, and they have all kinds of olive products and flavored olive oils and all kinds of cool stuff. And they have art shows, and they have live entertainment. It's just a really neat place. So the last time I was there, they were handing out these cute little recipe cards, and this reminded me of a tea cake. And there's a recipe on the back from that local business. So I thought that was a cute little tuck there. A little more journaling space. So here's a little space here. Here's a little tuck spot that I made. This is made out of a library pocket. And then I made some little, just cute little tags. I mean, the paper's printed, but there's plenty of space to write a little something if you wanted to on the back. The front, these are cutouts from a book on antique Valentines. So these are cutouts, little photographs of antique Valentines. But I always think Valentines go with tea. I don't know why, because tea is very romantic in my mind, I suppose. So there's some journaling space, again, open space to paste something in. This is from a little shop in Vienna, Austria. My husband was there, gosh, I don't know how many years ago now. Well over 5. But there was a little pastry shop where he liked to go and have afternoon tea and pastry. And so this is a piece of the menu from that little shop that he brought back. And again, just some cute little cutouts. I thought this was a cute little play on words, because it's part of a, you know, the name of a tea company, but then we're having company for tea. And again, some little bit of journaling space. Here's a cutout from a magazine that I just thought was cute, and I used it to make a little flip on an envelope. Here's the quote I was talking about when we looked at that little hope charm on the front. Where there's tea, there's hope. So this little envelope has an opening here, and you can slide in. I put this in the back, but there's room to slide a little card or something in there for journaling. So just a cute little flip there. And again, this one is a couple of different things collaged together. So there's some book page and there's some music paper. This is a cutout from a book. And then here's another paper doily. I always think paper doilies go with tea as well, because it just reminds me of, you know, having a paper doily on a tea card or on a pretty plate with pretty cookies and things on there. So here's another quote that I really liked. There is something in the nature of tea that leads us into a world of quiet contemplation of life. So I thought that was something that reminded me of having tea. This is the center of the book, so you can see the binding. And I used multiple pieces of this beautiful yarn. So there's two different kinds of yarn. There's kind of a variegated pinks and blues and purples, and then there's some kind of loosely woven blue. And this is, I just used a pamphlet stitch. This has a 5-hole pamphlet stitch to hold this one together. So a little more journaling space with some embellishments, just a little bit of drawing on some of the book page. This one has a little flip down so that you, again, have some hidden journal space. And then when you get to this also flips down. And it has a journaling card in it. This is from a magazine about paper dolls. So this would be the artist drew, and you can see the artist name and everything here. So the artist drew the paper doll and then the clothes that went with it. So this is from a magazine. And then there's some journaling space on the back with some of the spattered paper. And of course, I always think tea it's a little homey and it's a little fancy all at the same time. So we have that fancy little envelope to go with it. This is another piece of hand-dyed paper. This is another cutout from that same paper doll magazine. Maybe a different edition. I have several editions of that. Then we have this one. This piece is from a vintage Valentine. The center of it was something else and it had kind of gotten destroyed. So I saved this. Sometimes I find paper packs at secondhand stores or antique shops or flea markets, things like that. You know, so I usually try to pick those up, and this was in one of those little hauls, stashes of paper. Again, here's another little pocket that I made using some washi tape and some more of those little vintage Valentine pictures from a book with some space to do a little journaling on the back. So those are just fun little tags. You could journal on the back. You could use these as little gift tags for somebody, or you could write if you wanted to give the book as a gift. You could write little quotes and notes on the back so that the person who got it would see your handwriting and flip it over and go, "Oh, look at that. Isn't that nice?" Right. Here's another little tuck spot that I made. This is kind of cool, this mesh that goes on here. It's actually a roll of mesh tape that you use to fix holes in drywall. But I always find it very interesting. I like the texture that goes with it. So it has a lot of texture to it. And then there's a journaling card and a little bit of the gold that wraps around. So cute little tuck spot there. This is again some hand-dyed paper that was then speckled. So a little more space. This is the other half of that hand-dyed doily. You can kind of see where it goes up that way. And this is another piece of the crochet work that's there. This echoes the front, so this is kind of similar to what's on the front. And then there's again some uneven pages here. This is another little piece of a vintage Valentine that part of it, you know, was kind of destroyed, so I saved what I could to use. And so that again is a smaller one. There's some more of that vintage music paper. Here's a space that you could, oh, I was gonna say a space you could write on, but that's the back. I had forgotten because it was not tucked in. That's our writing board in the back so that we can use that. So if you wanted to write somewhere here, you know, it gets a little squishy. So if you put that under it, that gives you a sturdier background to write on. So it just makes it a lot easier when you're journaling to actually use the journal, right? So I've just created a little tuck spot and labeled it for the writing board and put the writing board there. And then it just ties shut. But I just thought this one was a lot of fun to make because I like the kind of frilly tea romantic theme of it. And I thought it was fun to have it go sideways instead of tall. For storage purposes, you could certainly, you know, set it up and put it on a shelf. It wouldn't hurt it to go this way. But when you're writing in it, it's going to go this way. All right, so that is my tea theme journal. It is available in my Etsy shop. I posted it last night. So thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can go, you know, maybe makes you want to go make something that's tea themed yourself. Have a great day. Remember, use what you have to make your life more beautiful. See ya. Bye.